Hi guys, welcome to SimLive. My name is Kiki and this video will be part of a tutorial series where I'll be modeling some custom content for the character Lara Croft from Shadow of the Tomb Raider in stages. In this video I'm working on some weapons. Hello! So today we're back and we're creating the recurve bow for Lara and also the quiver and also the climbing axes and the rope that goes well, I don't know why I started the sentence like that. That goes on her hip. I don't know where I was going with that sentence when I started it, but there you go, that goes on her hip. So right now we're just box modeling the bow, which is a recurve bow. Now these were the best images that I could find of that particular bow because I don't actually own the game, so it's not like I can go in-game and check it out. But I did notice whilst working on this project that there are many other bows in game as well, so this is just one of them, and I think it changes appearance as well when you upgrade it. If I sound funny, I just really literally bit my tongue so badly. It hurts. But anyway, I'll try and speak through the pain anyway. But if I sound like I have a little bit of a lisp today, it's because I bit my tongue. But yeah, anyway, box modeling this thing. So I've got a subsurf modifier on there. I'm modeling it from a cube. So I don't have the sim body in there at the moment because after I've modeled it I'm going to place it on the sim and find where it goes on her back, even though I have absolutely no knowledge of bow shooting whatsoever. That's not what that's called, is it? Archery? Yeah, archery. I have no knowledge of archery. I still really want to go out and do some archery, but I still haven't in life. There's this course you can do. I don't know if it's near where I live, but I can book it from where I live anyway, and it's actually horseback riding and archery at the same time, so you learn how to shoot an arrow from horseback. And I've always really wanted to follow a course like that, even though there's absolutely no use for that in daily life whatsoever. It's still a really cool thing to do, and I will. At one point in life I will. I just haven't found the time because it's a couple of days. I have actually booked, totally random, another class to go bouldering. I don't know if any of you watching this have ever gone bouldering. It's a lot of fun. It's also really painful because they make you wear these really small shoes that, because apparently it gives you better grip, but really for me it just gives me cramp in my feet. But yeah, it's still really cool. I don't have a lot of upper body strength, so for me to go to a class of bouldering always means that I'll be in absolute agony the days after, just from muscle soreness. So these are just, let's actually talk about the project, shall I? These are actually the fibers that come from the bow. So there's a little bit of rope wrapped around the bow. I'm sure these all have technical terms, I just don't know them. And then they come free. Personally, I think that would just get tangled with the bow string, but I did some research on other bows and a lot of bows seem to have that decorative floofy things on it, whether it be feathers or just fibers. They all have it. So now I'm just creating the string. So a funny thing is I actually created all of this from one mesh. This was just a cube. Usually I have to use multiple meshes to create something, but no, this is just from one mesh. And I've just skipped the bit where I do the UV mapping because for me personally that is the absolute most boring thing in the world. I'm getting better at it, but yeah, no, it's always, well, I don't mind doing it. I just sort of zone out and go about UV mapping, but to watch back, personally, I don't think it's that riveting as far as content goes. So now I'm just very quickly blocking out the colors so I can drop that into Photoshop later on. And I've also just made a cavity map. So I painted the dirty vertexes on there and baked it as I'm doing right now. Ooh, I went a little bit ahead of myself there. Baked it, and so we have a cavity map, a UV layout map, and the color map. And I'm just getting rid of all the excess colors. And basically, if you turn the cavity map into an overlay, that just instantly shadows and highlights your mesh. And I mean, if you see the effect on there, that just instantly looks good. I'm just dealing with a little bit of discrepancy there in my cavity map, so I'm just getting rid of that. And then over to the pattern. So I found this enlarged image of the carvings on the bow itself. So I'm just going to go trace that with the path tool, or in this case the circle selection tool, and then creating a path. God, I've lost the words. I have lost the words. Anyway, you can see what's happening anyway. It's right there on the screen, albeit it is going a little bit fast. So basically I'm just tracing the pattern, and then I have to mirror it over because it has to connect. The way that I unwrapped it is the bottom of the bow is connected, and then the seam is actually on the top of the bow, just because I thought that would be easier, because the pattern on the bottom of the bow is a bit more intricate than the pattern on the back. As long as I'm really precise in mirroring this over to the other side, so duplicating it, they should just connect, and they do, because I already know the end result, without any discrepancies in that seam is going to cause. So and I also made sure while I was UV unwrapping to line everything dead straight, so it would be easier to avoid any discrepancies in the seam as well. So I basically started out, because the way the UV map works is that it's actually slanted, but I decided to just go back and model it straight anyway, because I don't know how far slanted it is right now, so it's better just to go model it or paint it straight, and then warp it as right now as I'm going to the UV map layout, or texture, whatever you want to call it. So right now I'm warping it to the shape of the actual bow, and so the sides that you see right now, so the left and the right side, they connect at the top of the bow, so they're actually connected. It folds over and connects. Oh, just repeating myself at this point. And I'm just giving it some effects to try and make it look a bit more carved. I mean, this is going to be very small in game itself, so I'm going to lose a lot of detail as well, and it does need to look a bit more weathered than it is at the moment. So I'm just going to add another overlay to just make it look a bit more weathered, and with paint coming off in certain places and the paint being more pronounced in other places. And right now I'm using this bump map to create the roped and woven textures on the texture. So this particular detail I'll be adding to the cav map later, the cavity map, sorry, I just shortened that for no reason, so that it will become an overlay as well over the colours. And then I'm gonna basically use the same procedure to create a rope-like effect or string-like effect for the fibers. And if you were confused about what that was, that is the oh no, these are the wraps around the bow itself, and then those on the side are the fibers that come down from the top of the bow. And then they just need a little separate thingy for the knot in it as well. And then here we go, this is in Blender. I will be adjusting the colors later on once I have the other items as well, so they all match. And oh yeah, for the the quiver, I accidentally deleted the footage of me modeling it. I was so stupid because it took quite long, and it was quite cool how I did it, but I couldn't retrieve it. I did download a couple of programs to try and retrieve my deleted files, but unfortunately by the point I realized that I deleted them, I had already written information or data over it in my computer, so there was no way to retrieve it. I was considering just redoing it, but you know what, it's fine. I'm also modeling the axes and the rope, so there's lots of modeling to watch. We can, you know, I mean, it's tough, but oh well. So I've already unwrapped it. I've just skipped that as well because just it's a little boring to watch, but as you can see, I really cleaned the mesh up, straightened everything out, which is a bit of a mindless job, but it does help when you're trying to texture. Yeah, and how I made the arrows was pretty cool as well, but we'll never see it now. So here I'm just doing the same thing. I've just used the cavity map to create instant shadows and highlights for my texture, and now I'm just creating some extra layers that I'll be adding to the cavity map later on. I'm just trying to create a fur effect for all the parts of the quiver that are made from fur. And here I'm creating the ropes that go around the quiver, and I needed them to line up on the sides perfectly, so at the seam you wouldn't be able to tell that they didn't line up. I didn't think that it was going to work as well as it did with me just adding the diagonal lines, but that actually worked really well. And it doesn't really matter that, because I thought it would have to matter for each string individually where the lines were for a natural effect, but even just putting that over there and them all being the same, yeah, it works quite well. You don't, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit mechanical, but in the end it's such a small detail that in-game you won't notice that. So it looks good, I think. And here I'm redoing the fur for the top because I forgot that I'd already done it. But thankfully I did like the effect of the second time better than my first attempt. So, and this is where I realized, oh, I'd already done that, but I deleted the first attempt because I did actually prefer the second one. So there we go, that's the texture done. So we're just going to overlay that in Blender itself. This is just the blocked out color, so but we're just going to change that in the node editor to the new one, and there we go. Not too shabby, I think. Works well. Now, where I said it lining up at the top there, I wasn't as precise at the top as I was in the bottom, but I'm just going to go with that. That will actually be against the bow anyway, as you can see here. So you won't be able to see that that seam doesn't line up perfectly. So that's the bow and the quiver. So onto the axe. I'm just going to create the one for now and duplicate it later on. Now with this one I am trying to keep the face count as low as possible, so I'll be doing most of the detail by sharpening the edges with the edge crease tool. Oh, that's very hard to say with a sore tongue. Edge crease tool. Now I'm not being super accurate about all the detail because this axe will be quite small in game, but it just goes to show just how much detail is in those Tomb Raider games. I mean, they look so good nowadays. I know that in a couple of years we're all going to be like, oh my god, I thought that looked good, what? But I mean, for right now that is just astonishing. And the fact that all of these things have upgrades and then look different as well. I just have to quickly go back and mention that I unwrapped it before duplicating it, so that I wouldn't have to unwrap all these individual ones. That's quite handy to do beforehand. But yeah, like especially with the bow and the quiver that I did before, there's so many versions of that in game. I mean, there's been someone, well, a team of people who've painstakingly been creating all of that to such a photorealistic point. Ah, it's just amazing. It's amazing. I think it's amazing. So that's the axe pretty much done, and then we're just going to start with the rope, which I created through using the Bezier curves. So again, I've already UV unwrapped it, and now I'm just blocking out the colors so I can take this to Photoshop in a second. So after I finish the texture for this one, I'm not going to show the rope one because the rope one is, I mean, I'm showing you blocking out the colors, but the texture is so super simple for that one. I'll just stick to the axe. I've got a couple of showcase pictures, and next I'll be doing the outfit itself because I think we've seen her in the Jungle Adventure outfit long enough now. It's time for her to wear her Lara outfit, and then there's with that one I'll also include the walkie-talkie or radio, and what was the other thing that she needed? Oh yeah, the necklace. So that will be the last video in this. Oh no, someone also asked for a different version of the hair. I will be doing that, but I don't know if I'll include it in this particular series. But yeah, so next video will be outfit, radio, and the necklace. So thank you so very much for watching. Enjoy the showcase and see you later. Bye!